The story begins with a young man named Noru exploring a crumbling ruin. A chilling sound echoes from a dark hole in the ground. He cautiously approaches the abyss, sword held ready. Suddenly, a voice booms from the darkness. "Well done!" Noru jumps back, his eyes wide with shock. The voice, soft and beckoning, calls to him from the void. His leg trembles uncontrollably with fear. He thinks that running away is for cowards. But a nagging thought tells him this could be a trap. He takes a deep breath and steps into the darkness. Inside, a woman is shackled to a stone wall. He cautiously asks if the voice belonged to her. She asks him to put his hand on her head. As he does, a sudden flash fills his mind. He sees her past, a powerful adventurer named Olivia. She had found this dungeon and solved its puzzles alone. On the second floor, she defeated a powerful demon in seconds. But killing it activated a trap, chaining her to the wall. He recoils in shock, learning she's been trapped for 200 years. She tells him the chains carry a lethal curse. If they are broken, she will die instantly. Tears well up in her emotionless eyes. She confesses she just wanted someone to talk to after centuries of solitude. Noru introduces himself, deciding to tell her his story. He clenches his fist, declaring his need to become stronger. The scene shifts to his home, where his sister is furious. She demands to know who stole his job as a librarian. Noru looks down, defeated. A chart explains their family's rank: baronet, the lowest of the nobles. They are scorned by higher ranks, treated like commoners. His sister Alice wants to confront them, but her rank is too low. Noru thinks about how he ran away from home to ease their burden. Alice suddenly has an idea. She tells him he should take the entrance exam for the hero school. He could graduate and find a secure, well-paying job. But Noru looks away, dejected. He tells her he doesn't think he can pass. Alice smiles gently, offering to support him forever if he fails. He walks away from her, his mind heavy with doubt. His family is poorer than even his sister knows. The hero school exam is incredibly dangerous. It requires collecting materials from powerful demons. And the tuition is so high only nobles can afford it. The fee is 30,000 rira, an impossible sum. Later, his childhood friend Ima greets him cheerfully. She's excited to start her job as a librarian with him. Noru looks away, his brow furrowed in discomfort. He tells her he won't be working with her after all. Ima's face falls, her expression serious and concerned. He explains that Ima was born into a rich baron family. They became childhood friends because their parents knew each other. Unlike others, she always treated him as an equal. He then reveals a secret he found in an ancient book. It's about his unique skill, the Great Sage. This skill allows a user to acquire knowledge on any topic. When he was a child, his parents celebrated its discovery. But using the skill causes an agonizing, mind-splitting headache. The pain was so bad he begged for death and stopped using it. Noru continues, explaining what he read in the book. The great sage Merlin also had this skill, and a similar problem. Whenever his head hurt, he would ask his wives for a kiss. Ima's cheeks flush a deep red. She asks if he really wants to try it. She rationalizes that in some countries, a kiss is just a greeting. They sit side by side, their hands gently clasping. Ima closes her eyes, her face a mixture of shyness and resolve. Noru clenches his fist, then gently grips her arm. He pulls her into a close embrace. Their lips meet in a tender, hesitant kiss. For a moment, there is only silence. He pulls back, breathing hard, and a slow smile spreads across his face. He did it. The kiss completely erased the pain. With new confidence, he closes his eyes and calls upon his power. "Great sage," he asks, "answer my question." He asks for the fastest way to get stronger. He needs to know how to pass the hero school's entrance exam. The sage's voice answers inside his head. It tells him there is a hidden dungeon nearby. A cave, 1,500 meters to the southwest. Behind a trap wall, 100 meters inside, lies the endless labyrinth. Noru and Ima are left panting, the air thick with unspoken feelings. He tells her what the sage said, that he has to go to the dungeon. She looks at him, tears in her eyes, and asks if he wants more kisses. The headache might come back after all. He stands in the desolate wilderness, the sage's directions in his mind. He grips the hilt of his father's sharpened sword. He looks back at his hometown one last time, thanking Ima in his heart. Finding a narrow crevice in a rock wall, he knows this is it. With a powerful kick, he shatters the stone, revealing a hidden passage. Before him stands a massive, ornate gate that a demon couldn't budge. The hero school exam is just days away. Noru knows he must be prepared for any opponent. He resolves to forge a powerful, brand new skill. It's a massive gamble, costing a staggering 300 LP. He thinks to himself that this is the only way to pass. But to create the skill, he needs help. His thoughts turn to Emma, the kind and trusting maid. He finds her in the main hall, diligently dusting a shelf. He hesitantly calls out her name. She turns around, her expression gentle and curious. She asks what he wishes to talk about. Noru suddenly freezes, his whole plan feeling intensely awkward. His eyes involuntarily dart downwards for a split second. He quickly snaps his gaze back up, his face flushing. He steels his nerves, telling himself the skill will be his. Besides, he can always regain the LP he's about to spend. Taking a deep breath, he begins to explain his idea. He wants to create a skill called appraisal, a power that can see the hidden truths of the world. It could read the status and skills of any person or object. Emma listens patiently, her head tilted in thought. Noru explains that to create it, he needs a test subject. He needs to perfectly imagine the act of appraisal. He finally works up the courage to ask for her help. Without a moment of hesitation, Emma agrees. She simply asks what she needs to do. Noru stammers, trying to find the right words. He tells her he just needs to look at her. He needs to use his power to see her complete status. Emma just smiles and tells him that she trusts him completely. Noru is hit with a wave of gratitude and immense embarrassment. He closes his eyes, focusing his entire mind. He pictures the information he wants to see flowing towards him. Name, age, job, skills, latent potential. He pours his life points into the concept, shaping the magic. He whispers the command to bring the skill into being. Then he opens his eyes and looks directly at Emma. Appraisal, he murmurs under his breath. A window of blinding light and text floods his vision. It's an overwhelming cascade of raw data. Name, Emma Brightness. Age, 16. Job, maid. Skills, super housekeeping. Perfect pitch. He sees her stats, her potential, absolutely everything. And then, his eyes lock onto the very last line of text. 3 sizes, B89, W58, H88. Noru's brain comes to a complete, screeching halt. A strangled gasp escapes his lips. His face erupts into a shade of crimson he didn't know was possible. He can feel the heat radiating from his own skin. Emma looks at him, a flicker of concern in her eyes. She asks if everything is all right. He can only stare, his mouth opening and closing like a fish. Suddenly, he feels a warm trickle from his nose. He brings a hand to his face, and it comes away red. A massive, dramatic nosebleed has just erupted. Emma cries out in pure alarm. She rushes to his side, fumbling for a handkerchief. She asks him what's wrong, her voice filled with panic. Noru is too stunned to form a coherent sentence. Just then, a familiar chime sounds in his mind. Pleasure points detected from a carnal desire. LP has been acquired. He stares in disbelief at the mental notification. He gained life points from his own perverted shock. He thinks to himself, this power is a double-edged sword. He quickly manages to tell Emma he just felt a little dizzy. Unconvinced but caring, she insists on helping him to a chair. As she gently dabs his nose, he comes to a realization. This appraisal skill was far too dangerous for his sanity. The following day, he arrives at the hero school. The building is a massive, imposing fortress. Crowds of hopeful applicants swarm the entrance. Noru takes a deep breath, his confidence newly forged. With his secret weapon, he feels ready for anything. He now has the ability to see the stats of his rivals. It was the ultimate, almost unfair advantage. He discreetly scans the crowd, appraising a few students. He sees incredible stats, rare skills, and noble heritages. He realizes this exam will be anything but easy. A sharp voice suddenly cuts through the noise. The voice asks if that's really Noru's nostalgia. He turns to see a girl with fiery red hair and a confident smirk. Her arms are crossed as she looks him up and down. He recognizes her instantly as a childhood rival. She asks if a weakling like him really thinks he has a chance. Noru simply meets her condescending gaze with a calm smile. He tells her he's not the same person she remembers. An instructor bellows for all applicants to assemble at the gate. The first test of the Hero School exam is about to begin. Noru gives his rival one last look before turning to face his future. The Grand Hero School stands under a cloudy sky. An enormous crowd gathers at its gates. It is the day of the grueling entry exam. Noru stands apart, feeling completely out of place. He is surrounded by the children of high nobility. He is just a baronet's son, the lowest of the low. An instructor addresses the hundreds of examinees. He announces the details of the first test. They must gather materials from demon beasts. Grading is based on quantity and rarity. And one final rule. Teams of 3 are mandatory. The nobles quickly form their own exclusive groups. Noru is left standing alone by a stone wall. One voice calls him a dirty, low-ranking brat. He knows no one wants to team up with him. Then a hand gently rests on his own. He looks over, his eyes wide with disbelief. It's Ima, his childhood friend, smiling at him. She winks, asking why he looks so shocked. Noru can only stammer her name. He asks what on earth she is doing here. She tells him this is no time for that. She says they need to find a third person, fast. But all he can think is that this is a disaster. She was the one person who wasn't supposed to be here. His mind flashes back to a few days ago. Ima had cornered him, demanding answers. She wanted to know about the hidden dungeon. She declared that she wanted to work alongside him. But Noru knew he could not let that happen. He thinks of her running away through a dark archway. He had told her he was sorry. This dangerous life was not meant for her. The secret dungeon, the hero exam, it was all too much. He had to push her away to keep her safe. He had made a difficult choice. He had turned his back on his oldest friend. But now she stood before him, holding his hand. His careful plan to protect her was in ruins. His thoughts raced back even further, to the chained adventurer in the dungeon, Olivia. She had granted him a set of incredible powers, the skills of creation, grant, and editing. But they all consumed his precious life force, his LP. He learned that he could regain LP through his desires. Lust, gluttony, and greed could fuel his power. Desperate to pass the exam, he created a new skill. He spent a massive 300 LP. The powerful skill was called Judgment Eye. With it, he could see the hidden truth of anything. He could appraise items and see people's stats. He remembered testing it on Ima from afar. Her level and skills were surprisingly high. He knew this would be his secret weapon. A flush of embarrassment creeps up his neck. He remembers exactly how he earned that LP. The innocent, heartfelt hug he shared with Ima. He had asked if he could hold her, and she said yes. Her softness and warmth filled him with LP. It felt pure, yet it satisfied his lust desire. Then came his disastrous attempt to help her. Ima had complained about her stiff shoulders. He thought her large chest was the cause. In a moment of madness, he used a skill to shrink them. She had screamed at him to change them back immediately. A voice snaps him out of the painful memory. A new girl with a polite smile approaches them. She asks if they are looking for a third member. She introduces herself as Lila, from a count's family. Ima urges Noru to accept before it's too late. Lila glances at the badge on Noru's chest. She scoffs at his low baronet family name. She says she's never heard of the Stargazia family. She mutters there's no point remembering a nobody. Still, she grudgingly agrees to team up for now. She needs a team, even a trash one. Noru clenches his jaw, but accepts her offer. The three of them stand together awkwardly. The arrogant noble, the determined friend, and him. Lila glares, warning Noru not to get in her way. He stares back, his resolve hardening. The instructor's voice booms across the courtyard. The first stage of the entry exam starts now. A massive gate grinds open before them. It reveals the entrance to a dark, menacing forest. The other teams don't hesitate, rushing forward. A wave of examinees floods into the woods. Noru stands still for a moment with Ima and Layla. He takes one final, deep breath. He would pass this test, and he would protect Ima. A young adventurer stands frozen in a crumbling hall. Before him looms a shadowy, monstrous entity. His eyes are wide with shock and disbelief. He can't believe what he's seeing on the third floor. A hooded Death Reaper stares back, its power level a staggering 99. The creature's skill is simple. Anyone hit by its scythe dies instantly. Noru thinks back to the start of the exam. A cheerful voice echoes in his mind. It was Ima, telling him the objective was to collect monster materials. She had told him not to forget it. But the exam wasn't that simple. He recalls a conversation with another student. She explained how the system favors rich nobles. They could just buy the materials instead of hunting. The memory of being called a trashy baronet stings. He remembers walking down the street with Ima. They saw a small, disheveled beggar on the side of the road. Ima had looked at the child with disdain. She loudly called the beggar an eyesore, but moments later, she knelt down in secret. She slipped a few coins into the child's outstretched hand. Noru had smiled, calling her a hypocrite. Ima just told him it was okay and urged him to hurry. Suddenly, a child's frantic shout cut through the air. "Thief!" A man with a sinister grin had snatched the coins. Ima's eyes narrowed with fury. She declared she would get that money back, but Noru held her back. He told her to let him handle it. This was a perfect chance to test his new skill. He focused, preparing to use 100 life points. He would edit the skill, Rock Bullet. A small, glowing crystal formed in his palm. With a surge of power, it grew dramatically in size. Ima watched, her eyes wide with astonishment. She asked how he made the rock so much bigger. Noru just smiled, knowing she had seen his secret. The massive rock slammed into the thief, pinning him instantly. He returned the coins, telling the child to be more careful. It was a huge success. But now, back in the hidden dungeon, that victory felt distant. The Death Reaper's presence filled the air with dread. He had to beat it and get its material. He thinks of the promise he made to the chained woman, Olivia. He told her he would definitely return. He can't afford to die here. He checks his stats again. Negating the instant kill skill would cost 4,000 life points. He only has 500. He's completely outmatched. But if he stops here, he's finished. He grits his teeth, his fingers digging into the stone floor. He refuses to give up. With a desperate surge, he uses his creation skill. He crafts and grants the slow ability onto the Reaper. It costs him 200 life points, but it's his only chance. The Death Reaper swings its massive scythe, but the blade moves with an unnatural sluggishness. Noru dodges, a smirk playing on his lips. He taunts the creature, asking if it's losing weight. He calls out that his spell seems super effective. The Reaper lets out an enraged roar. Noru gathers what's left of his power. He tells the monster to enjoy its last meal. Rock Bullet, 100. A colossal, glowing boulder erupts from his hand. It flies through the air, aimed squarely at the beast. The impact is catastrophic. The Death Reaper is sent flying backward. It crashes against the dungeon wall and shatters into pieces. A cracked skull rolls to a stop on the ground. Noru steps on it, a notification flashing before his eyes. Level up. He is now level 33. He collapses to the floor, utterly exhausted. The scene shifts to the school's award ceremony. An announcer stands before the student body. He calls out the third-place team, then the second. Ima looks on, her expression growing anxious. Their team hasn't been mentioned at all. Noru resigns himself to failure, thinking he had only a 50% chance anyway. Then, the announcer's voice booms across the courtyard. First place, the Lenoir team, with an astonishing 128,000 points. The entire crowd is stunned into absolute silence. The score is utterly impossible, but far away, chained in the darkness of the hidden dungeon. A woman lets out a soft, amused laugh. She muses that for a new student, beating a Death Reaper is a miracle. But soon, she promises Noru's distant spirit, it will be a weakling to you too. Noru stares blankly, still reeling from the exam. But reality quickly sets in. He needs 300,000 Rhea for the Hero Academy's entrance fee. He can't burden his poor family with that. He thinks to himself that there's only one thing to do. He arrives at Odin, the country's largest adventurers guild. A massive, intimidating figure glares down at him. The man's aura is so powerful, it feels like a physical force. Noru lets out a small yelp of terror. He's saved by a gentle voice. A beautiful receptionist named Lola introduces herself. Noru immediately thinks she's a wonderful person. She leads him through the bustling guild hall. She tells him this is the place to get quests and earn money. She sits him down at the registration desk. First, she says, please write down all the skills you've got. Noru freezes. His skills are a secret, given to him by his mysterious master. He can't just reveal them to a stranger. He nervously decides to write down just two: creation and editing. He hands the paper over with a hopeful smile. Lola looks at the sheet, her brow furrowed in confusion. She asks him what those skills even are. Noru stammers, trying to explain. Then he slips up. He blurts out that his master taught them to him. Lola's eyes go wide. Master? Noru claps a hand over his mouth, realizing his mistake. Her friendly demeanor vanishes. She tells him plenty of fakes claim to be Olivia's successor. She pulls a huge, ornate book from under the counter. She calls it the Truth or False book. She proposes a test to see if he's lying. A little bet. Noru feels trapped, but he has no choice but to agree. Lola smirks, completely sure that she has him cornered. She declares that if he's telling the truth, she'll lift her skirt and confess her love to him. Noru stares, dumbfounded. With a grim look, he places his hand on the book. The pages erupt in a blinding, magical light. His name appears in glowing letters, Noru Stargazia, and beneath it, a long list of incredible skills. The guild members whisper in shock. The appraisal book never lies. The color drains completely from Lola's face. She closes her eyes, cheeks burning with humiliation. Slowly, her trembling hand reaches for the hem of her skirt. With tears streaming down her face, she lifts the fabric. She sobs out a confession of love for Noru-sama. Noru feels a sudden, incredible surge of power. He checks his stats. His LP just shot up by 300 points. He feels a little bad for her, but only a little. He realizes with a jolt that his power is tied to his own excitement. Lola, somehow regaining her composure, finishes his registration. She hands him his card, though the ledger is still upside down. He's now an official E-rank adventurer, but he still needs a lot of money and fast. He scans the quest board, looking for anything that pays well. He finds it. A D-rank quest to catch a rainbow hopper. It's a rare bug no one has been able to find. The reward has inflated to an incredible amount. Lola tells him that even as an E-rank, he can take it. She says she has high expectations for him. Later, Noru prepares to use his Great Sage skill. It can answer any question, but it causes a skull-splitting headache. A headache that can only be cured by a kiss from Ima. He powers through the pain, gets the bug's location, and succeeds. He's also gained a new skill, headache resistance. He thinks to himself, relieved, that he won't need to kiss Ima anymore. Suddenly, an angry voice screams his name. It's Ima, his childhood friend, and she looks furious. She demands to know why he went to the guild without her. She reminds him of their childhood promise to always be together. He's flustered, but then she starts blushing. She tells him a kiss is just a form of greeting for them. Back at the guild, Noru turns in his quest. Not one, but 3 rainbow hoppers. Lola is stunned. He's earned a massive bonus. He's made enough money for the academy in a single day. Even the intimidating guildmaster calls him a prodigy. Noru beams, vowing to work just as hard tomorrow. But he notices Ima looks sad, quietly watching him. She feels him growing stronger and leaving her behind. Lola offers him another quest, an easy one, with a big reward. Just as Noru agrees, a hand slams the counter. It's Ima, her eyes blazing with determination. She announces she's joining the guild to do the quest with him. Noru is shocked, speechless by her sudden declaration. Lola and Ima lock eyes, a silent challenge in the air. They both declare that from now on, they won't let the other get in the way. The guild hall erupts in murmurs and stares. Noru stands frozen between the 2 furious women. Another miscalculation, he thinks to himself. This is a disaster. Lola just smiles, her eyes fixed on him. She says she has the perfect quest for her precious Noru-san. He tries to smooth things over, cheerfully asking Ima to come along. Ima blushes, promising Lola she'll get amazing results. But Lola just smirks, turning her attention back to Noru. She will only do this for Noru's sake, she says. Suddenly, she grabs his hand. She asks him for a private dinner after the quest. Before he can process it, he blurts out an, "Okay." Ima looks on, completely horrified. She pulls him aside, her face a mask of frustration. She warns him he has to be careful with that devious woman. She tells him Lola could lure him into a room and... Ima's imagination paints a terrifying picture. Lola, with a chilling smile, surrounded by knives. Noru tries to reassure himself. Lola can't be that kind of person. Probably. They arrive at the desolate Acone Plain. The grasslands have been eaten bare in patches. Ima crouches, examining the ground intently. Suddenly, two figures emerge in the distance. They're level 17 goblins, their eyes glowing with aggression. Ima doesn't hesitate. "I'll take the right one," she shouts, drawing her daggers. Noru nods, agreeing to fight the one on the left. He'll finish this quickly and go help her. He notes his gender, male. He thinks to himself, if so, rock bullet. A blast of magic streaks across the field. The goblin is struck down in a single, swift blow. Noru turns, ready to help Ima. But something is wrong. A massive, horned rabbit bursts from the ground. It's huge, his level reading 24. Noru feels a jolt of panic. This will be an incredibly tough fight for Ima. Ima stands before the monster, her expression resolute. She tells Noru she's going to defeat it by herself. He asks her why, completely stunned. She just yells back, "Because!" He realizes with a sinking feeling what she's thinking. If he kills it, he'll get closer to that woman. She's desperate to prove she's strong enough on her own. He lets out a sigh. He can't stop her anymore. He decides to watch from the sidelines, ready to back her up. The battle begins. Ima is a blur of motion, her twin daggers flashing. The giant rabbit swipes with its massive claws. But she's impossibly nimble, dodging with ease. She looks like a butterfly dancing in the wind. She leaps onto its head, her foot stomping its jaw shut. "All right, I got you," she yells. She unleashes her skill, Gale Force. The attack sends the beast staggering back. But it's not down, it roars in fury. Suddenly, it hops into the air. A massive shadow falls over Ima. Noru screams for her to mind her step. The rabbit comes crashing down like a meteor. There's a flash of light. Noru's rock bullet hits the beast just in time. It sends the monster tumbling off the edge of a cliff. They hide behind a tree, hearts pounding. Ima slumps to the ground, utterly defeated. She can't understand why she couldn't beat it. Noru sees the despair clouding her face. He thinks, is there anything I can do to help her? And then, an idea hits him. He can use his edit skill to enhance her abilities. But he needs LP, a lot of LP. He turns to her, his expression serious. He asks her, "Your ear, can I bite it?" Ima stares, completely bewildered by the question. He insists it's the only way to make her stronger. She looks down, her fists clenched. Then she looks up, her eyes filled with trust. "It's fine," she whispers, "as much as you want. I'm yours." He reaches out, his fingers brushing against her ear. A wave of heat rushes through her. He never knew her ear was so soft. He discovers his childhood friend has a weak spot. He bites down gently. She lets out a choked gasp, her body trembling. He feels his life points surging. He thinks to himself, my LP is rising by a lot now. And then, he hears a twig snap behind them. Noru and Ima freeze in the sudden silence. The sound of a snapping twig hangs in the air. Looming from the shadows is a giant rabbit monster. It's the very beast they came here to hunt. Its massive head sniffs the air, searching for them. Noru curses himself, knowing this is his fault. An image of his master, Olivia, flashes in his mind. She hangs in chains, alone in a hidden dungeon. Yet somehow, she feels his overwhelming panic. Her voice echoes in his thoughts, a distant, worried whisper. Back in the forest, the rabbit still hasn't seen them. Noru glances down. checking his life points. They've surged, thanks to Ima's terrified reaction. He thinks to himself that he has enough to act. But just then, the monster's head turns. Its glowing red eyes lock directly onto them. Ima lets out a terrified, blood-curdling scream. The gigantic rabbit roars and charges forward. Noru shoves Ima out of the way, narrowly dodging. He lands lightly on his feet, poised for a fight. The beast lets out another deafening roar. Noru doesn't flinch. He stands his ground. He unleashes a volley of rock bullets. They slam into the monster's cheek, leaving a mark. He reminds himself to use his head, not just his brawn. He knows he has to use his skills wisely. He declares aloud that this is it. He spends 500 of his life points. A brilliant light envelops his outstretched hand. He reaches out, pointing directly at Ima. He calls out, editing her short sword technique. He enhances her skill from rank C to rank B. Ima gasps, feeling a surge of power course through her. But the rabbit monster attacks again, sensing the change. It swipes at her with a massive, razor-sharp claw. The ground beneath her shatters from the immense impact. Ima leaps back, a pair of daggers now in her hands. She moves with an agility she never knew she possessed. The force of the monster's attack sends debris flying. It kicks up her skirt, exposing her completely. She freezes in midair, utterly mortified. The entire battle grinds to a sudden halt. Noru looks up from the ground, a bit dazed. He asks her if she saw that incredible move. She blushes furiously, unable to speak a word. He cheekily lists 3 choices about what he might have seen. Then he declares loudly that he saw absolutely nothing. Ima looks down, her face bright red and flustered. She mutters quietly that she doesn't really mind. She tells him he can look, but only for today. Noru's confident smirk vanishes instantly. His face turns a shade of red he didn't know was possible. He spins around and takes off running from the sheer shock. He yells back his thanks for making him stronger. His intense embarrassment sends his LP soaring. Back in town, they present their proof to Lola. She stares in disbelief at the horn from the big rabbit. She asks if Ima really defeated it all by herself. Ima smiles, saying Noru gave her a little help. A newfound confidence radiates from her every word. Lola apologizes for ever doubting her abilities. The 2 girls shake hands, their rivalry now a friendship. Noru watches them, a warm, pleased smile on his face. He then surprises everyone by revealing the rabbit's entire carcass. He explains he carried it back with his dimensional storage. The whole guild erupts in celebration, planning a huge feast. Ima playfully fights with the other adventurers over the best meat. She brings a piece to Noru, feeding it to him herself. He's deeply moved by her simple act of kindness. After the party, Lola hands Noru his reward. It's a pouch containing 300,000, his full tuition fee. Everyone in the guild suddenly starts congratulating him. They raise their mugs, cheering his enrollment in the hero school. Noru just stands there, completely and utterly confused. He's so overwhelmed by it all he can barely think straight. In the chaos, he sees a familiar face in the crowd. It's his master, Olivia, raising a glass just for him. His mind reels. He thinks, it can't possibly be her. He's overcome by the pressure, the shock, the emotion. He collapses, slamming his forehead onto the hard floor. In his mind, he's back in the quiet of the dungeon. He thanks his chained master for giving him this chance. When he finally comes to, the party is still in full swing. Later, he walks with Ima toward their new school. His new life at the prestigious Hero Academy is about to begin. Just then, an impossibly elegant girl walks past them. On instinct, Noru uses his judgment eyes on her. The strange power reveals a torrent of information. Her name is Maria Albert, the daughter of a duke, and she is cursed to die on her 16th birthday. The words echo in Noru's mind. Cursed to die on her 16th birthday. He stands at the gates of Hero School. The victory feels completely hollow. Ima is beside him, full of excitement. But Noru's thoughts are a million miles away. Inside, the whispers start almost immediately. The word baronet is hissed in the hallways. Noru smirks to himself. So much for social rank not mattering here. He's used to being looked down upon by nobles. The open hostility still grates on him. Suddenly, a hand extends towards him. A friendly voice says, "Nice to meet you." Noru flinches back, completely startled by the gesture. A boy with glasses offers a kind smile. He introduces himself as Siphons. Just then, Ima's sharp voice cuts in. She confronts the boy for being rude to Noru. Siphons looks totally confused. Rude? Him? He explains that Noru earned third place in the exam. He says he has nothing but respect for that. Ima's eyes narrow. Unconvinced, she reveals Noru fought the Death Reaper for materials, a battle that even she believes she would have lost. The entire crowd is stunned into silence. They all thought a high-ranking noble's daughter did that. Siphons face drains of color. He realizes Noru didn't use connections to get here. He earned his spot through pure power. At that exact moment, the hall quiets. An elegant figure glides through the parted crowd. The students whisper her name in awe. Maria Sama. Noru's heart hammers in his chest. It's her. The girl from his vision. The girl with the curse. She stops directly in front of him. The entire school watches, breathless. With a graceful smile, she extends a gloved hand. She says it's a great pleasure to meet Noru Stargazia. Jaws drop all around them. The lowest rank and the highest, face to face. Noru stares, completely stunned by her greeting. Murmurs of disbelief ripple through the noble students. They sneer at him, calling him worthless trash. But Maria simply smiles and takes his hand. A wave of shock washes over the onlookers. She says she looks forward to working with him. Suddenly, a cheerful voice calls out to Noru. A girl named Ima waves energetically. Maria turns, her own eyes wide with surprise. She asks Ima what she's doing here. Noru is left completely lost and confused. Later, he reflects on the encounter. Maria doesn't seem like a bad person at all. But he can't forget the vision of her curse, the one that will kill her on her 16th birthday. A new teacher arrives to lead the next class. Her name is Aluna Stonagusu, a former mercenary. She announces a special self-defense training. Her smile is sharp and predatory. She won't let anyone leave until she is satisfied. She singles out Noru for the demonstration. She tells him to try his best to kill her. Noru freezes, his eyes wide with disbelief. She assures him she won't even hit back. He activates his judgment eyes to see her stats. His heart sinks. Her level is 232. He steels his resolve and dashes forward. He swings his sword with all his might. She deflects the blade with a single gloved hand. The crowd gasps as Noru is thrown off balance. With a flicker of movement, she demonstrates backstep. The lesson quickly becomes a brutal beating. Then, just as quickly, she heals him completely. She offers a reward to anyone who can dodge her attack. The boys in class erupt in cheers. Noru knows this is his only chance. He opens his skill menu, searching for an edge. He pays the points to acquire strength and backstep. The Luna lunges, her weapon a blur of motion. In a flash, Noru vanishes. He reappears behind her, smiling confidently. He calmly asks for his reward. Aluna just stares, mouth hanging open in shock. The other recruits look on, wondering what reward Noru will claim. Aluna smirks, an idea forming in her mind. In the next moment, Noru's world turns upside down. The mercenary teacher sits directly on his stomach. He lets out a choked cry, his face flushing red. The other students erupt in a mix of shock and laughter. Noru groans that her posterior is crushing his insides. Iluna leans down, coolly asking if he's falling for her. He gasps that it's just really hard to breathe. With a sigh, she stands, announcing break time is over. She forbids Noru from partnering with his friend Emma, calling them lovers. A snotty noble then offers to be a partner to the beautiful Lady Maria. Maria turns him down flat, her expression cold as ice. The entire training ground falls silent. She announces that while she was born a noble, it was only luck. She believes the lives of common soldiers are just as precious. Turning to Noru, she says she wants to be with an honest person like him. The crowd stares, completely stunned by the public confession. Maria gracefully extends her hand. She asks Noru if he will take it. He hesitates, feeling completely unworthy of such an honor. Then, with a shy smile, he places his hand in hers. The breakfast training begins, with the new partners facing off. As Maria prepares to throw him, she blushes. She quietly admits that being with him just made her really happy. He smiles, then braces himself for the throw. She executes the technique perfectly, sending him to the mat, but a sharp crack echoes through the air. Maria cries out, her eyes wide with surprise. She collapses to her knees, clutching an amulet on her chest. Noru stares in horror, recognizing the broken object. He remembers a terrifying legend, the Mark of 16, a curse that kills his victim on their 16th birthday. Desperate, Noru summons the great sage for answers. The sage confirms his fears. Maria's birthday is just 7 days away. The price to remove the curse is an impossible 8,000 life points. As Noru panics, a searing headache, a skill side effect, cripples him. To stop the pain, the sage tells him he must kiss a girl. He stumbles toward Emma, begging her for help right now. In front of everyone, he pulls her into a sudden, desperate kiss. The entire training group freezes in stunned silence. The headache vanishes, but a furious Aluna sentences him to 15 laps. After his punishment, he and Emma rush to the Adventurers Guild. They explain the situation to the receptionist Lola. Lola tells them of a powerful exorcist known only as the Saint. But there's a problem. She's booked for months in advance. Worse, she rarely takes curse-lifting jobs for a secret reason. It seems hopeless, but Noru refuses to give up. He begs Lola for an introduction, just a chance to talk. He remembers when Maria extended her hand to him when he was alone. He clenches his fists, his eyes filled with resolve. Now, it's his turn to save her. In the temple grounds, a massive crowd gathers. They're here to see one person, the Saint. A man coughs violently, then suddenly laughs with joy. He shouts that his pain is gone, a lie from the start. Inside, a young woman works tirelessly. She slumps over, completely spent. She whispers that she overdid it. She has no strength left. Another woman catches her in a warm embrace. "Thanks for your hard work, Sansama," Lola says softly. The Saint, a young girl named Luna, just pouts. Meanwhile, Noru is deep in the hidden dungeon. He needs to find a way to save Maria. His master, Olivia, floats beside him. She suggests that if the Saint can use purification, she must be from an elven lineage. Noru's eyes widen. A chance to stock up on LP. Olivia offers him some questionable advice. She whispers a plan to raise his LP quickly. Noru's face turns beet red. He declares it's impossible. He can't do that to his friend. He decides to convert his LP into a new skill instead. He wonders what amazing forbidden skill he'll get. For 300 LP, the system grants him. Lucky pervert. He has no idea what to make of this. Suddenly, he remembers his promise to meet Emma. He shouts in a panic and sprints out of the dungeon. He's definitely making the Saint wait for them. As he runs, he trips and stumbles forward. He crashes directly into Emma, his face buried in softness. Then, a mysterious gust of wind blows past. Skirts flutter up all around him. He freezes, wondering if this is the effect of his new skill. He finally arrives, flustered and late. Two figures stand before them, radiating elegance. Lola gestures to one of them. She introduces him to the Saint, Luna Hira. Noru stares. It's the girl from before. They all sit down, and the group explains Maria's plight. They ask Luna to examine their friend's curse. Luna listens patiently, her expression unreadable. She calmly states that she knows of Maria's curse. She admits she can use curse removal, but there is a problem. A shadow falls over her face. She confesses that for now, she is incapable of saving her.